Argentina in mourning after death of Diego Maradona. A little Maradona walking on golden earth, making it the top of the World Cup trophy. And this title, Adios, Maradona, is pictured from behind. In fact, the front pages of the Argentinian press would almost give us the impression of being in 1986, with these photos of Maradona at the height of her glory, leading her country to victory. Brandishing the trophy, waving to the crowd, scoring a goal. If it weren't for these titles, the world is crying Diego Maradona. For El Chubut, I don't want this pain in my heart. For Pagina 12, there won't be any other, said Clarin. And then all the same, thank you for the joy, exclaims El Ancasti. Tribute from a whole country. After the emotional earthquake that announced Diego Maradona's death, thousands of people came out on their balconies in Buenos Aires and elsewhere in the country to applaud with emotion. Says Clarin, who continues, this time it wasn't for the caregivers fighting the pandemic, but for the man who stole the hearts of millions of Argentines. And that tribute came at 10 o'clock in the evening. 10, obviously, is number, notes Pagina 12. At midnight, says Clarin, in Plaza de Mayo people went up to monuments, with fireworks and banners, to sing the hymn and then also hymns in homage to the footballer. The country's stadiums were not left out. Led to light up the sky in Diego's name, sports newspaper OL, for whom the most moving postcard of the night was sent by La Bombonera. The home stadium of Maradona's team, the Boca Juniors, which has remained in the dark, except for a single spot, lighting up Diego's historic playground. Maradona and history. Pagina 12 says, Maradona did not go down in history, he wrote history, in a country that has suffered great collective misadventures, a bloody dictatorship, a lost war, hyperinflation and recurring economic crises. Among other misfortunes, Diego Maradona has made millions of Argentines happy. Maradona, the greatest national symbol, confirms OL, in a photo of the most famous Argentines in the country's history. Evita, Eva Perón, her husband President Juan Perón, Che Guevara, writer Jorge Luis Borges, and therefore, Maradona. In a country constantly divided, Maradona brought us together, OL said, by joy in 1986, today by sadness. A deep sadness. Sadness felt as far as Italy. Napoli are crying, Napoli are in mourning, Napoli are in shock over the death of their club's favorite player, La Nación reports. The newspaper explains that because of COVID-19 no one is supposed to leave their home without a good reason, but for some Neapolitans Maradona's death was strong enough for them to come together, among others in front of a fresco in her glory in the Quartiere Spagnoli, the Spanish quarter of Naples. In short, Diego Maradona, Argentine hero, but also a global idol, notes OL, the most famous Argentinian in the world. OL, who recalls this 10-meter-high statue in India, this poster on a wall in the middle of the desert in an Iranian film. Maradona and politics. In the rest of Latin America, every newspaper seeks to make a connection between Maradona and its own country, and that connection quite often is politics. Fidel Castro and Diego Maradona, forever on the left of the world, headlines in Cuba the pro-government daily Granma, which recalls that Fidel Castro, who died 4 years ago on November 25, was also one of the idols of Argentine number 10. Maradona met him in 1987, and always felt that Fidel was a second father to him. He even had his face tattooed on his calf. Grandma emphasizes that in all this there was also a real political conviction, since Maradona condemned the hostile posture of the American government against the Cuban Revolution. For El Nacional in Venezuela, his ties to communism, particularly his close friendship with Hugo Chavez, are part of the scandals in which the player has been involved, like his addiction to drugs. The newspaper publishes a photo of the former Venezuelan president, arm on shoulders of a hilarious Maradona wearing a George Bush t-shirt with the words, war criminal. However, the Chilean newspaper ML recalls that, in his own country Maradona was accused of flirting with the Argentine power, whatever its tendency. To which Maradona replied, in reality, whatever the government, this is my country that I always support.